What is going on, everybody? It has been quite a while since I put a video up of anything. I have been getting jammed up and jammed up and jammed up figuring out this tranny. Got it all figured out. It turns out the low roller, there's the center support down below the sun gear, and the low roller was in backwards, so it was just spinning both directions freely instead of locking one direction. That was the problem with it. Had a 1-2 flare, and that was the problem with it. Well, that was one of the problems. Another problem I found when I took it apart is this is a 36 element Sprague setup, and as you can see, she is a little out of shape. Don't know what caused that, or if it was like that when it got sent to me. It looks like it might have been like that because it's kind of weird that it would just squish right there. But if you pop the center race out of it, it has some marks in it. If I can get it to come out of there. Kind of a pain in the butt to take apart. See the chatter marks on that thing? So it was having some issues. So I'm going to guess that was like that out of the box. And then grab marks on it. I don't know what the heck it was doing. Look at that one. But anyways, this was from a company called TSR Racing Products, I believe. I called them up. This is their drum. It takes the 36 element Sprague on it, so it's different from a stock drum. And called them up, and they sent me all the new parts. That's how it should look. Nice uniform round. No squished spots or messed up spots. But there's the new parts to fix that. Other than that, all the clutches in the transmission were still, brand new. Nothing had done anything in there, so that's good. I got all the pan cleaned up, bolts cleaned up, ready to go back together. So I'm out here putting this back together right now. So this will be fixed. I'm going to put it back in the truck, and I'm going to run it for a little bit, couple weeks or so, maybe a month, and just make sure it works good. That way when I pull this back out, because I'm ordering a power glide for the truck anyways, it's to the point where it's making enough power that it needs a far better transmission than a Turbo 350. This was good. It held up to 1,000 horsepower. It did like 12 consecutive 9-second passes, and was still in good shape at the end of the year. So it's held up, but I could tell now that the truck's making a lot more power, so it's just time to upgrade it. I'm going to buy a power glide. I already got the one picked out I'm going to buy. I just need to wait till maybe the end of next week to order it. And then I'm going to order 35 spline rear axle shafts and an all-new full aluminum, the full bolt-through Yukon center section with all new gears and everything in it. So everything should be ready to go. The truck will have a trans brake on it. When I do that, it'll finally get upgraded to a trans brake on the Turbo 350. It was a full manual, but I still ran the vacuum modulator because it helps the transmission have longevity. I just didn't want to spend $500 to put a trans brake on a Turbo 350 when I know that the transmission is not that strong, especially to hold up to the kind of power that I want to produce. So that's where we're at. I'm going to get this thing back together, cram back in the truck tonight, and hopefully within the next few days. It's snowing outside right now, so it's going to be a few days before I get to take it for a drive. On the Samurai, still have not done nothing because I have been messing with this. And on the topic of messing with that, I am about to cut a big hole in the wall where that old window is that's boarded up. and I am going to build a 13 by 13 room on there. So going to get an extension on the garage, but other than that, let's see, where's the pistons and rods for the, here's the pistons and rods for the big block for the S10. I just got those back the other day. I just ended up taking the rods out of that 502. They're just a GM dimple rod, 7/16 bolt, or nut, stud, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I had them pressed onto the pistons out of that big block, so I'm still waiting on the crank. It's up at Mile High Cranks up in Denver. Waiting on that, and then that big block can go back together. It's sitting back there for the S10. And we had figured out all the nitrous stuff on it finally. It was having a problem hitting the switch, and then we had something wrong in the controller. So everything's pretty well figured out on that. When it goes back together, it should be ready to make some nitrous hits. Hopefully it's not going to be too cold. Hopefully we get some warm days coming up here in December to hopefully get that on the road. And then I did purchase this mess the other day. This crank needs to be turned. That's a scat crank. Here's some Eagle rods, H-beams, and some flat top, what are these, SRP pistons. So I bought all this the other day. This is a 383 mess. Don't know what it's going to go in yet, but I'm sure I could find something that whole mess can go into. I do need to find 2 of these Eagle 6-inch H-beam rods. If anybody has 2 of them sitting around, they are a CRS 6000-BS rod, and that's a large journal, small block Chevy rod is what they are. But I need to find 2 of those. If you have 2 of those laying around that are in good shape, shoot me a message. I could use them. And that's it. That's where we are with all of the projects. That's where they're at. As soon as this one's done and I get the extension on the garage, it's going to be back to the Suzuki and back mocking stuff up on it and getting it ready to just continue with the build. And then get the engine built for the S10 and get it back in the S10, and hopefully that thing can make some passes. The crank for the S10 was bent. When it went up to the machine shop, the crank was bent. Like 25 thousandths on one end and 28 thousandths on the other end. It said it was shaped like a banana. There was nothing that happened in that engine for it to do that. We never hit it with any kind of nitrous or nothing. So had to have been like that when he bought it from whoever he got it off of. But so the guy up at Mile High Crank, Dave Olson up there, he straightened it out for us and he's getting it turned. So it'll be back and we can get rolling on that mess again. And when I get the power glide in here, hopefully we can make some really good street passes, because the Turbo 350, I'm not going to mess with it as far as doing anything under power. I'm just going to make sure it works good, because I have plans for this in a future build. Also, I'm building another engine. Probably that 383 will go in there first, and then eventually it'll get a 400, but we'll discuss that later build after a couple of these are all back together. But that's it. Sorry it's a long video. I'm rambling on like a damn Yahoo. I want to thank you guys for liking, subscribing, sharing. We're at 353 subscribers. I want to thank all you guys. And all you guys not subscribing, it don't cost nothing. Hit the subscribe button. I don't want to ask you to, but you know, I need to get 1,000 subs to start making money off this deal. And it probably won't make a lot of money, but anything is good. It helps support what I do here. You know, it'll help get these builds going a little faster. And if I get enough subscribers, then I could do this full time instead of having to go to work for 10 hours a day. So that would really help get the builds rolling. So anyways, you guys like, subscribe, share. Have a good night. See you on the next one.